And above all else, we know this. In America, we don't worship government, we worship God. You were there from the first minute of my presidency. I have taken historic action to defend religious liberty. Tony knows that very well. Tony wasn't really sure, I would say, at the beginning. He was saying, what do you think? I don't know him very well. But I think you're very happy now, Tony, right? Something I'm very proud of, I stopped the Johnson Amendment from interfering with pastors' rights to speak their mind. You can do whatever you want. You're the people we want to hear from. Protecting the conscience, rights, and think of this, those rights of doctors and nurses and teachers and groups like the Little Sisters of the Poor, incredible people. And we're preserving our country's vital tradition of faith-based adoption. As you know, just a few days ago, a Democrat running for president proposed revoking the tax-exempt status of many churches and religious groups. And you know why, and you know who it is. He's a wacko. We'll never allow the federal government to be used to target, harass, or punish communities of faith, and I will never allow the IRS to be used as a political weapon, as it has been and currently is. It is currently being used so viciously, so violently against many people in this room. Virtually every top Democrat lawmaker also now supports taxpayer-funded abortion right up to the moment of birth. But it's really now even worse than that. The governor of Virginia, do you remember? He was on a show and he talked. People said, what did he say? What was that? He said, the baby is born. And then we have a conversation with the mother as to whether or not, what he meant, as to whether or not we execute the baby, because now it's an execution. And that was a very big moment. And they don't do anything about it. There was an unbelievable moment for the people in this room. For the people on the radical left, they didn't understand what was wrong with what he said. That's where we've come. But we're going now in a different direction. And don't forget, when I go after what I call the fake news, I call it the corrupt news too, because it's stronger than fake, but fake sort of reads a little better. There they are. But when I go after the fake news, I had a magazine for one of the many covers. I've been on so many of the covers of this particular magazine, Time magazine. And we were talking. They were in my office. I figured, let me give a shot at having an interview. Maybe I'll get a better story out of these people. So we had a nice talk. And I was talking about how unfairly the press treats me and you. They treat us all very, very badly. No matter what we do, it doesn't matter. It'll never be considered good. And if it's just a neutral, it's a horror. And if it's something bad, I hate to say it, it's like the electric chair, okay? Bring back the electric chair, they say. But I was talking and I was going off to fact after fact after fact about how crooked and corrupt the media is. Then I realized I'm in the Oval Office and I said, but I'm president and you're not. So what's this all about? Right? Sure. Say, and I'm going on for like 20 minutes ranting and raving, and I said, wait a minute, here I am. But because of the late-term abortion, this is why I've asked Congress to prohibit the late-term abortion of babies, and it's a big thing, and we have a lot of fighting. You wouldn't think there'd be a lot of fighting. Remember the debate with Crooked Hillary, where I said she wants to rip the babies out of the womb in the 9th month. And everybody said, wow, that's the first time they heard that statement. And you're just lucky that we won. Because we won, I didn't win, we won. This would be a much different country. And by the way, it's like a plant. You seed the plant, you put the plant in, but those roots have to gain. That's why we need the next 4 years. We have to have those roots, they have to grab on. That's why we need it. Administration that's done what we've done in the first 2.5 years. Now it's almost 3 years. If you look at everything we've done with taxes and regulations and right to try and all of the different things that we've done, the vets, the military, we've rebuilt our military. We had a general come to my office, respected general, and we were having a big trouble with one country. First week in office, very early. He said, sir, we have no ammunition. I said, you know what? We're going to have ammunition, a lot of it. And hopefully we'll never have to use it, but we're going to have a lot of it. But I also said, I never want to have another president of the United States hear those words from a general, because does that put us in bad position, right? In this administration, we believe that every child, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of God. The Mexico City policy to protect the lives of the unborn. We have issued a final rule to prohibit Title X taxpayer funding from subsidizing the abortion industry. We stopped federal funding of fetal tissue research. My administration has also made tremendous progress in fighting back against the left's effort to use the federal courts to impose their fringe ideology and crush the same religious liberty that we've been speaking of tonight. To defend our Constitution, we have confirmed more than 160 highly qualified judges to interpret the law as written, including 2 incredible new Supreme Court justices. You know, I've always heard that federal judges and justices, Supreme Court justice, most important decision a president can make. And I disagreed. I always said, you know, look, defense to me has got to always be number one. But I got it. I said, you know, it is. It's really incredible. And usually when a president comes to office, you have no vacancies. The previous president would have, boom, should be no vacancy. You know, whatever their ideology is. But I guess they thought that the crooked one was going to win or something. And in the first couple of days, I said, by the way, you know, I had a couple of other things going too, including the fact that a few minutes after I was sworn in, the Washington Post wrote a story that the impeachment starts right now. You saw that, right? Did you see that? Right after I got sworn, took the oath of office, and they did a story, literally a very few moments after the swearing in, that the road to impeachment starts right now. But I had a lot of other things. But I said during the course of the first very early period, like a week, I said, by the way, how many federal judgeships do I have? They said, sir, you have 142. I said, what? You have 142, sir. I said, you got to be kidding. 142. You mean I have 2? 1, none. No, you have 142. And President Obama was not very good at getting it done. Because, you know, people held him up and everything else, but with time, you get them all done. We get them done. But he put a big rush on at the end when he saw that we were doing well in the polls and coming up and up, but it wasn't enough time. So we inherited 142 open federal judgeships, including Court of Appeals.